Hi, everyone, and welcome to Heal Endometriosis Naturally with Wendy K Laidlaw. Wendy has spent the last 2 years helping women with various stages of endometriosis to heal naturally after putting her condition into remission. After her own healing success from stage 4 endometriosis and adenomyosis, she's inspired to heal others, and her goal is to help some of the 175 million women know that there is another way other than painkillers, drugs, or surgery. This is the place to be for real talk with real people for real results, so you can learn how to heal your endometriosis naturally. Please note that the opinions expressed in this program may represent options, but are not a substitute for proper medical care. Before starting any new healthcare program, we recommend you consult with a health professional.
Hey everyone, it's Wendy K Laidlaw, and as always, I do hope that this message finds you well. Firstly, very, very happy new year to you. I do hope that you had fun over the festive periods, but I do also appreciate it can be a trying and testing time. So I appreciate I've not been around or present on the podcast for a while, so I do hope that this message finds you well. There have been a number of different reasons for my absence. Firstly, I hosted my first Embracing Emotions in-person retreat in Portugal, which was wonderful, and some may even call a success in inverted commas, whatever the definition of success means. I guess to me, success was that the venue suited my needs at that time to give the participants the best experience with the best content, and of course, the participants having the important connection and growth that they sought. It was also a growing experience for me as well. It was quite daunting to some parts of me to step up and out in this new way, as hosting an in-person event is very different from hosting an online event or creating online programs. I've hosted several Ultimate Emotional Health Summits over the years, which were extraordinary amount of work, but produced great guests, great content, and were good fun. Most importantly, they had a huge impact on the women that consumed the content. You can still get access to these summits by visiting my programs page. But what it lacked for me was the community connection, that deepness of connection that I knew my EndoBosses sought and needed. I've created and produced many online programs and membership sites that, again, have created great impact and impressive results for my EndoBosses far and wide across the world. But again, I felt lacked that all-important, personal, deep connectivity and engagement that I know that I wanted to offer them on an in-person basis. Whilst I believe my EndoBoss team are the best support team on the planet and the most caring, nothing compares to being in the same room with like-minded women and sharing and growing with safe others on an empowering pathway. So when preparing for this live Embracing Emotions retreat and writing the program and itinerary, etc., there were many elements to consider, and I was nervous about how it would be received, perceived, and the impact for the women that attended. I was relieved and so pleased that it all went well. And for that, I am truly grateful to my beautiful family and to my team for their amazing support and belief in me when my confidence or nerves wavered. The retreat was such a delight to host, and as such, I'm planning on hosting more retreats later this coming year. But there will be a difference to them from the last one I hosted, which I'll explain. It will be at a different venue. The last venue was good, but not quite right. And with a different format and focus, because as successful as the previous one was, I want to dial up the educational component. And I want to get students to step into that area that I see most women struggle with, understanding their emotional elements and the messages, identifying their multiple subpersonality parts that have strong, important messages to give them as well, and establishing strong, healthy boundaries, which when combined together produce a healthy and empowered and formidable EndoBoss. So the new retreat format will be dialed up to fast track and bypass the pain quickly in their lives. So more will be revealed in the next few months, but our EndoBoss Mastermind retreats will be happening soon, and not something you want to miss out if you are serious about change. Change that you seek for good. Hence why the podcast is referred to as Change for this year. The EndoBoss Mastermind retreats will allow old and new EndoBosses to come together in different venues around the world to either fast track their EndoBoss journey or for previous EndoBosses to get back on track and fine-tune what needs to be realigned for them to get back on that horse that they may have fallen off. So some of my absences explained as it took time to go over what worked and see how I could improve and build for the future, to debrief my notes and analyse the next step forward. If I've learned anything on this EndoBoss journey, is that I must always be moving forwards, and my aim is to share what I am still learning so that you and others have a less painful, emotionally painful journey. For the record, and just to reassure and inspire you, all of my endometriosis, adenomyosis, cysts, etc. are all still in remission. It's really important that you recognize this. I have become the master, understand the secret code, and I'm able to keep and retain my endometriosis and all those pelvic issues in remission. I still have zero pain in my pelvis. And I say this not to brag, but I say this because we still get emails regularly and messages to our team asking, but is Wendy still pain-free? The answer, of course, is a big, big yes. And if for some reason, just for some horrible reason, my protocols and daily basics were derailed and I slipped back into old ways, I know exactly what to do, i.e. the 5 Ps and the 3 daily basics, to get my body back on track. Again, I say this because sometimes a woman will message and say that she was pain-free after reading my book and even had a baby that she thought she'd never have or was told she'd never have, and then suddenly pain has returned or endometriosis has reared its ugly head again or got worse. It is essential, especially at the beginning of any new year, to reset and analyze where you are. It's essential to remember that your body has this amazing ability to heal itself. I almost feel I want to get that tattooed on my forehead so everyone can see it. It's essential to remember that if pain has surfaced in any area of your body, anywhere, no matter where it is, your foot, your ear, your head, your neck, your shoulders, there is a reason for it, and your body is trying to get your attention. The key to healing naturally is to become the detective again. The worst thing you can do is catastrophize and or panic, shame yourself, or beat yourself up. Chances are that some or all of the 5 Ps, the poisons, produce, products, property, people, and past, have risen up and increased in your body. The best thing you can do is to start to journal in the mornings, take a note and start to document what food you are eating, all the different elements of it, eating morning, noon and night and in between times. Check for those hidden wheats and soy. They're everywhere. It's a very cheap commodity, both of them are, and manufacturers are very sneaky and pop them in everywhere. Ensure your consumption of artificial sugar is low, and I mean under at most 25 grams a day. Start tracking how much sugar consumption you're having. This is important as too much artificial sugar and dairy can cause extreme inflammation and havoc with your hormonal symptoms, and again, add inflammation to your body and your pelvis. Make sure that you're checking and being responsible and paying attention to the foods that have additives, preservatives, and colorants in them, and avoid eating these things. Swap them out with something healthier. For example, eat as green as you can. Notice how much green is on your plate on a day, and as much protein and grass-fed, hormone-free meat, fish, and chicken as you can as well, making sure you're getting these proteins that, are amino acids that are the building blocks of your cells to help regenerate and repair your cells. So make sure things have not slipped. For example, in your personal products and household products, make sure that they have 0 perfumes or fragrances in them, 0 SLSs or parabens. Really important. The thing is, you have the most sensitive body on the planet, like myself. That's why you're listening to this podcast and learning to tune in to what your body likes and what it does not like. And that is key. You will not get away with filling your body with toxins, poisons, and or inflammatory foods for long. So do not expect your body to be well or remain pain-free if you are pouring any poisons in, on, or around it. Especially after the festive periods. It's a time of higher consumption of all the things that may be adding irritation and inflammation. Your body is speaking to you, so make sure to listen. And that goes for people too. That is the people part of the 5 Ps. You might be surprised that the people that you were forced to engage with during the holiday periods have made you pained and inflamed and drained. Make sure to journal about those people and do not feel shame or any negative or frustrated or irritated feelings. Just notice if they have come up. You are allowed to have your feelings and emotions. You are not your emotions, so just keep observing them and noticing them. This is hard for women like ourselves because we're so connected and so in tune with other people. And if we notice a disalignment with someone, then we feel shame for doing so. But to keep feelings and emotions trapped makes them blocked, and that takes great energy and bodily resources from you. At the start of any new year, it is crucial when making plans of any nature that you and your body are at the forefront. If you are listening to this podcast, then I commend you. You know deep down that you are important, but you may be struggling with guilt, shame, and drowning in shoulds. I should do this, and I should do that, and I should have said this, and I should have said that. So just notice and just write them all out. You'll be surprised at how just that separation from your mind, from your brain onto paper can give you a better opportunity to keep listening into your instincts and intuition and to have faith wherever you are on the EndoBoss journey. So these past few months have been pretty hectic and almost hell at times. I share this with you so that you know that I'm not trying to present that I'm some perfect person and my life is something out of a Disney movie. Yet, as I said earlier, I still remain pain-free, and for that I am truly thankful. But I'm still a human. I noticed I was drained emotionally after the retreat because I gave so much to it, which I was happy to do. But I also recognized I had to take important restorative time for my body, mind, emotions, and spirit to recharge. There was also unexpected challenges as you get with life and you get with people. Some people who came out of the woodwork, as I normally like to say, they appeared from nowhere and caused some havoc. There were some entitled, hostile strangers that crossed my path that needed to be dealt with and that annoyingly took up far much more of my time and energy than I would have required. They ranged from roof repairs to burst boilers to a finger infection and another bout of COVID. In the past, I would have beaten myself up for not having had the time to write a podcast to you and record it like I'm doing now. But I knew you would understand, and that when the storms and irritations had passed, know that I turn up now with you in mind. And here just to keep cheering you on at the beginning of another year. For this, I had to keep me in mind, and this is part of my new journey. I had to take the time and make the time to be able to write and record something from my heart, not put out an episode just to tick somebody else's box or somebody else's list. So I got a finger infection, and this bizarre finger infection was caused by a cat scratch from my gorgeous but overly playful cat called Milo. He is a boisterous, fluffy boy and got overly excited one night as I was cajoling him into his bed, and his back claw accidentally and very deeply slashed through my middle finger. It seared in pain and poured out blood. I washed it under the tap with hot and cold water, trying to remove any bacteria that might be there. I wrapped it in a plaster to try and keep it sterile, but of course I felt the discomfort of the incident for a few days. However, 7 days later, I noticed my finger was swelling up, and evidence of an infection became very clear as the blood in my veins got redder and darker and started to spread up my arm. Unfortunately, I'd already contracted COVID Mark IV here in Scotland, which was causing unpleasant breathlessness and fluctuations of extreme low temperature to extreme high temperature, along with many other symptoms that comes with COVID. So I was a little bit worried. Fortunately, as I've mentioned before, in the UK, we are blessed to have an amazing healthcare system, and I was offered antibiotics. I'm not a fan of taking unnecessary antibiotics, as they can destroy all of the bacterial lining in the intestinal tract and all the good bacteria in the intestinal tract. But on this occasion, I could see that the infection was traveling rather rapidly up my arm, and I recognized that my body's immune system was already under duress and attack from COVID, so I reluctantly started these antibiotics. Annoyingly, though, I forgot to check the side effects leaflet, which is something I tend to do just out of, responsibility and making sure that I'm responsible for what's coming in, on and around my body. I'll put that down to COVID. But anyway, whilst I was blessed to take a tablet that did its job, i.e. antibiotics, and eradicate the infection within a few days, it sadly came at a cost. And this is what I talk about with women with endometriosis who have gone down the medical field and learned things the hard way. After being offered painkillers, drugs, they go on to have side effects that in some cases are worse or were worse than the endometriosis. Even after invasive surgery, women can go on to have even more side effects, and the original endometriosis symptoms can return 6 to 8 weeks on average after the surgery, because of course it's not getting to the root cause. However, these antibiotics caused me to see everything with a yellow hue over it, and the worst side effect was unfortunate damage to my heart. Whilst these antibiotics were designed to target the cat scratch infection, one of the side effects was it was also to target and damage my heart's mitochondria. I would go on to develop heart irregularities, chronic palpitations, shakes, insomnia, plus an incomplete right bundle branch block after various tests. I was shocked. How on earth did this all pile up and happen so quickly? I was truly frightened and felt very alarmed. Yet after that initial shock, I noted to myself I needed to journal lots. I realized and remembered not to panic, and that I ultimately had control of my body. Yes, I'd ingested an antibiotic that was causing these side effects, but I knew what to do. So my next step I had to do was to be one of deep attention and analysis. And this is why I have written my books in the way that I have, and written my programs in the way that I have, and I do things the way that I do, is so that you can feel empowered and get the right tools to help you pay attention and analyze what's going on in your body. So, and these principles still apply now in a cat scratch infection. So I realized that I had to get tests done so that I knew what was happening inside and identify the key markers showing strain and drain and any other elements affected in my body. Make sure to test, not guess. That is my motto. I also had to rest, a lot of deep resting, a lot of meditations and journaling, and of course keeping hydrated with power shakes. This is a true challenge for me, and I do recognize how the body always wants to heal itself, and I needed to get help and support that process. I also had to eat and drink the freshest, greenest, and most nutritional food and up the intake of my power shakes. Make them even super power shakes with lots of green in them too. If you have been following me for a time, you know that the mitochondria are responsible for ensuring oxygen gets into the cells, that nutrients are delivered into the cells, and of course, any waste is expelled from the cells. But to have my heart affected meant even more care and attention, and of course, faith. So I write to you now, much improved, keeping my approach simple and with the same methodology as I approach to healing endometriosis and adenomyosis and all my other previous conditions, that I've experienced much improvement and almost back to full health. The biggest challenge we have when our body has been affected by any ailments, infections, diseases, or viruses is learning to listen to our instincts and write down all that is happening inside. Ultimately, we are fully responsible for our body, and nobody knows our body better than us. The challenge is we haven't been taught previously how to listen to our body, and this is why I do what I do. However, by listening to our body, this actually soothes the nervous system and digestive system and helps the amazing immune system do its work. And my immune system did what it had to do and put COVID into remission and healed the irregularities in my heart. So I hope that you've been able to avoid COVID, Mark 4, and that whatever is happening in your body, that you will not lose faith of listening and analysing for yourself what is happening inside. I appreciate a new year may bring mixed feelings, but a new year also brings wonderful opportunities. An opportunity to pay attention in a different way to what is happening inside for your body. An opportunity to notice who drains you and who is there for you. An opportunity to truly lean into this body of yours, which is an awesome self-healing machine. And if it is not healing, then there is a reason for that. There could be a number of reasons, but by writing out and staying awake and aware, you will find the answers to what is preventing that process. It took me about 14 pages of notes and documenting all the different signs, symptoms, and elements of my body during that COVID and infection time to finally figure it all out, get myself supported and get my body back on track. I never take my health for granted. I like that I have a curious mindset. And I like that I've learned to listen deeply to what's going on, irrelevant of any discomfort in doing so. For to ignore my body, it will only scream louder at me. And I like that I take full ownership and responsibility of my body these days. My body is no one else's responsibility. And again, I'm speaking to yourself. If you're listening, remember that you are responsible for your body. And even if you're taking counsel and discussing with professionals what might be happening, ultimately, you have to live in the body and the buck stops with you. So as this new year beckons, make your New Year's resolution to put you at the top of the list. Notice if someone tries to make you feel guilty. Notice if someone mocks you for eating well or going to bed early or having more relaxation or alone time. Notice if you feel you've outgrown certain relationships. And please don't be nostalgic over a long-term relationship or job if they or it no longer values you or respects you. Make the resolution to be the boss of your body. Make the resolution to be the parent to you and your body. And make the ultimate resolution to become and stay an EndoBoss. I finish by sharing how my team and I received the most delightful and heartfelt messages and emails from many EndoBosses, many women over the festive period. And thank you to those who emailed in. We truly love to hear from you and your updates. They each shared their travels, expansions, continued growth, and journey. Some even shared how they were happy endometriosis had shown up in their body, for they were finally living the life they had dreamed about since they were a young girl. Amazing, isn't it? Isn't that amazing for someone to say they're actually glad endometriosis showed up in their body? Can you ever imagine yourself saying that? I know myself, had endometriosis not shown up, I wouldn't be where I am now. So for that, I'm truly thankful. To actually be grateful for endometriosis that had shown up, that's because endometriosis was a catalyst for change. And they all shared that they were so thankful to be pain-free. They all shared that they loved the feeling that they had come home to their body. And one beautiful soul, one beautiful woman shared, we had changed her world. That statement brought joyous tears to her eyes and even brings a lump to my throat even now. You see, my intention and my EndoBoss team's intention is always of empowerment to women. The intention is always to direct a woman back inwards to herself, to teach her how to listen and to tune in. That is where the real power and guidance lies. Your body is probably calling you inwards by the signs and symptoms that you are getting, and to step up and out into the greatness that awaits you. That ultimately is the EndoBoss hero's journey. So step forward this year into the year of you for 2024. Make this year of you becoming an EndoBoss. And if you need emotional support, and this is the biggest challenge for the most amazing endometriosis women, then consider joining our 21-day challenge and challenge yourself to pay attention to you for 21 days. You'll be amazed at the results. In fact, the results have been so fantastic, and I'm talking emotionally and physically and spiritually, that I created a second 21-day challenge specifically for embracing emotions. If you're already an EndoBoss, then consider dialing up to the next level and become an EndoBoss Elite by joining my waitlist for our future EndoBoss Mastermind retreat, which will be opening soon. They will be held around the world so that you can continue to travel, continue to connect with other EndoBosses, and of course, step into all of your parts of you that are waiting to be seen and heard. No more suffering alone. No more wanting to hide. No more people-pleasing. No more pain, and no more being a doormat, but more on that in my next podcast. More of coming home to your body, more of feeling peace, more of feeling serenity, more of stepping into what life awaits you. In the meantime, to your health.
Thanks for listening to Heal Endometriosis Naturally with Wendy K Laidlaw, and I hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and rate us. If you're interested in learning more, you can download your top 5 jumpstart tips at healendometriosisnaturally.com and jump on the VIP email list. Remember to keep you number one. The world needs a healthy you.